Cheers, cheers. We are here, and that means you are listening to the Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. You all know this is our second week back. I can't believe that we're almost at the end of the month already in 2023. But you all already know this year, the theme is growth and healing, healing and growth. Shout out to your favorite co-host, Mr. G. Cool, who will be back in February. But tonight, I'm so excited to bring to you my girls tonight as we have relationships and business kitchen table talk. Okay, we're just having a conversation tonight, not interview style. And of course, know I have Sin's Corner for you after the break. And I've got 7:30 Crazy for you at the 7:30 hour. And what would Sin say at the top of the 8 o'clock hour? So make sure you share. And stay tuned in. You're listening to The Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. And we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to The Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. It is time for Sin's Corner when I just bring you into my little corner and we're going to chat it up today with my special guests, friend to the show, Miss Crystal Durham. Say hey to the people.
Hey people, how y'all doing?
Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Last time you were here with Honey Bun.
Yes.
I call mine Honey Bun, but hubby.
Yeah, hubby, yup, hubby was here, and hubby's in the background, doing his thing. But we had an amazing time last time, and
really
so I'm excited
was.
to be here.
Glad to have you back. And then I have my girl, Mrs. Cash Flows. Say hey to the people.
Hey, amazing people. So this is my first time here, and it is such a joy. My name is Akila, known as Mrs. Cash Flows on Instagram. So I help entrepreneurs get funded, and I make you fundable, whatever that takes. Good.
Okay. All right. And so we're going to talk about that. So I want to talk to you guys. You all know I'm a relationship coach, so everything that I do is geared around the family foundation. Whether it's a big family, whether you're a single parent, whatever that looks like, that's what it is, and they know that. And you all know that. If you all don't know the story, Crystal is a friend to the show. Linda, shout out to Linda Chapman, Miss Contracts and Grants expert. She's on the West Coast. What'd she say? She was looking at who? Steph Curry tonight?
Steph
Yes,
Curry.
shout out.
Look, she is one of those all sports, okay? We have to do our schedule around the sports schedule.
So true.
But I reached out to you guys because I've had this vision for a long time when it comes to relationships and business, just because you all know how finances can make or break a relationship.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes.
So long story short, I reached out to you all because you all have key, like essential avenues and assets when it comes to business, whether you're in corporate America or an entrepreneur.
Yes,
Right? Don't you
yes, true.
All right. So, what has been your experience that you're going to bring to R&B retreats? I'll start with you, Crystal.
My experience that I can bring to R&B is number one, especially for relationships. You know, I've been through 3 marriages, and I'm married to my 4th amazing husband. Love him to life, and just that whole building that business and relationship together, right? So when I first started doing business, my husband's been working since he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And to become an entrepreneur, what does that look like, right? So when he probably is like, okay, you go do it first,
Right.
and then I'll jump on.
But no, we can't skip the 4th marriage.
Yes, right.
Because I know our listeners heard that. And I'm
Yes,
like,
4th marriage.
Now,
Yes.
how long have you all been married?
We've been married for 8 years.
All right.
8 years.
So what made you say, I'm not going to give up on love?
Well, because number one, I'm a lovable person.
Oh.
And I seriously, like, I knew I had love on the inside of me, and I just had to have someone help pull it out of me. Me find out who I was and who I am. And so I never stopped, even through each marriage, I never gave up hope to be loved, because I knew I was a lovable person, and it was just a matter of time for God to send me that person. So I never gave up on love.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, so we had someone who want to be a part of the conversation.
Right.
All right. So, Akila, what has been your experience when it comes to balancing relationships and business, and what you think you're going to bring, to R&B retreats?
So it's quite interesting for me because I'm the single one. I'm not married. And it's I would like to be married, right? Something I've never done before or accepted. So what
do you mean accepted?
I've been proposed to or asked to be
How
married
many times?
3.
I knew you were going to say.
And you said no all 3 times?
My experience will come from the person who didn't believe in marriage in the beginning, who had therapy and kind of faced what was going on, because I used to just repeat it. I would never get married. I would never get married. But I never knew why.
Got you.
Through therapy, I learned.
Now, did you come from a 2-parent home?
I did. Well, my stepfather.
Okay.
And my mother.
Right.
Okay.
But we're
They
married a
raised
very
me.
long time, right?
Yes. So I did see that. Come to find out, the experience came from my very first relationship. And she pointed out a pathology that I was having. She was like, do you see the pathology? Because I don't know if you guys remember from our live, he was a perfect guy for 2 years.
Right.
And then he flipped.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my pathology had came. I hate to say this, but she had diagnosed me as PTSD when it came to relationships. I was shell shocked.
I remember when we were talking about that on the live, right? And I wanted to ask you then, but we, just kept on talking and I didn't come back to it. With you having seen a good upbringing, because, my dad remarried when I was 5, and that's who I consider my mom. So to me, I come from a 2-parent home,
Yeah.
even though there was that period of time where there was that broken, family dynamic, but I was under 5, right? I always felt like when you have that 2-parent home and you have that dad in your life, that you're not going for the okie doke.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you think you fell into that? Like, you're a daddy's girl, right?
I had 2 dads.
Yeah.
So I was really close to my biological father.
Yes.
Really close.
So how do you think you fell into that?
It was just, honestly, this is going to maybe sound hokey, but I think some experiences is just on some people's life path. And I am not kidding you, because to be honest, everything that I've ever gone through, it just made me better.
Yes.
So I don't regret it. It actually, when I look at it, right after that experience, I became a different person.
Sure.
I was no longer shallow.
Yeah.
I was it was almost like
understood.
a 360 happened. It was like that experience had to happen for me to come to my own.
So do you think that he was who he was the whole time, but you didn't see it those 2 years?
I healed from it. So when I went to therapy, I went to a sort of therapy. I went to a sit-down therapist, and then I ended up going to a group therapy, which was like NLP, where they'll heal you on the spot. I wasn't expecting it.
Okay.
So I was like in such pain at the time that I was the first volunteer in front of like group of 300 people.
Wow.
And they had me tell the story of what happened, and they kept stopping me.
Okay.
It's like, no, that's story.
Sure.
You're saying he did that to you.
Yeah.
That's story. So they made me go back to exactly what happened, because I was like, oh, he took my life away. It was like, no, back up. So pretty much I went back to the experience and created and attached a new story to it.
Okay.
And then they forced me to call him with a group of questions. It was the first time after 12 years that I really heard him, that my experience actually wasn't what he intended. So when I called him, I was like, I'm not calling him. And he was like, yes, you are. This is part of it.
Wow.
Do you all think
Yeah.
that two people can be great people, but they can be terrible together and bring out the toxicity or the negative part in each other?
I think so.
I believe so.
I believe so. Yeah.
I know, and if I say what their dynamic is with me, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Right.
So I won't say I won't say that part. But I look at two good people who are toxic together, but I
Yes.
feel like they will be wonderful mates to someone
To
else.
someone
But they
else,
got
yes.
together younger, not young,
Yes.
Yeah.
but younger, and they had built a family younger, and also just they were living kind of the wild life back then. And, But then
Right.
they grew and they just grew up. Like, you know
Yes.
how it is when you get in your early 20s, you're not the same person when you're in your 30s.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Right.
And boy, was it toxic.
Wow.
But when I would talk to the one that's not connected to me, that's my in-law, I'm like, gosh, this person's a good person. Like, I really think,
Right. But they weren't good for each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I learned, this may help you. He was young, he was growing, and what I learned was he was like, I just don't want to lose my family. I didn't know what to do. So he became domineering and
possessive.
Controlling.
because he was afraid
was in
to
a panic.
lose me. And it made more sense, and I
So
forgave
he
him.
started going through PTSD then, in a sense.
Think
Whether
He
it's
became
PTSD
afraid.
or something, he had his own
He has-
triggers.
he has his own
I don't know what
triggers,
his
yeah.
background is.
well,
Yeah.
I know what my trigger was.
Which one? What?
Everything would go fine. And she said, most men, by the time a year, most men know they want to be with you
Right.
Yeah.
almost immediately or within the first 6 months.
Right.
They already
True,
know.
true.
So they say after the 1 year mark or 2 year mark, now it's time to move forward in the relationship. Oh, let's move in together. Let's get married.
Okay.
That was a trigger for me. But I didn't know it.
Okay.
So everything would be going beautiful. And then as
So would
soon
you
as he's
sabotage?
like, I would automatically, that's when my PTSD would kick in, and on autopilot, I would sabotage it unbeknownst to
Unto
me.
me, yeah.
So I believe I can bring that experience to business and
Yes.
relationships
Yes.
because I don't even know anyone who would admit what it is that I'm talking about.
Yes.
I agree.
I
agree too.
I wouldn't have
Yes.
found out had I not gone to therapy.
Right,
I
right.
thought everyone else was crazy.
Right.
But it was me.
All those men are crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, y'all crazy.
Now, I do understand the sabotage part, but I only would sabotage if I'm backed into a corner.
Right.
Not just because if it's going right, I just want it to stay right.
Yes,
okay?
that's it.
Just stay
Yes.
right. You know,
And it's- yeah.
For me, I would sabotage in hopes that they would leave me.
Yes.
And they would never leave.
They would
and
never
it just would
leave.
get bad
Yes.
and worse and worse. And so I learned later in life to
Right.
assert myself, set boundaries
Right.
and things like that. But then I wouldn't even enter into
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
didn't sound right.
Right.
But yeah, I was here for like the
Now, for me,
downhill spiral.
For me, I think I tolerated too much too long.
Yeah,
Just
when I
to
know
be
your story, you
married.
did,
You know,
yeah.
just to be married, even though
Now,
it
did you
didn't-
come from a 2-parent home?
No. My I didn't know my father till I got older, so I was with my stepfather. And but he was in and out of the home. So it was
Okay.
mostly my mom.
Okay.
To her she probably say yes, but for me no.
Yeah, for
so
your experience,
right.
yeah.
And then I didn't see healthy relationships. My mom and her husband, they argued, fuss, and my sister's relationship, so I didn't really understand love at all. Like I had no clue. I thought love was arguing. I thought love was, you know, him probably shoving you and y'all get back together. So when I got a relationship and the chaos started soon I got in, I was like, oh, so this must be how it is. But not knowing that his family was a bunch of, you know, fighting, violence, and
Sure.
everything.
Oh, wow.
That
So
was
when
normal
two
to
violent
them,
people
yeah.
come in, it's normal,
Yeah.
right? So I never even knew what love was. So I tolerated the behavior, the abuse, the challenges.
When you talk about tolerance, so I'm a daddy's girl, like hands down. Okay, I was a
Yeah.
tomboy for so long just because my daddy liked basketball. He liked to run. You know, like
Did you do basketball?
I try, you know, my mom had me in the books. I tried to, but she was
Okay.
like, "Yeah, this practice rehearsal ain't it." You know, but I wanted to, right?
right.
Imagine you.
Right. Playing ball. Yes.
There was a period in time.
Because you're so pretty. Yeah.
My sixth grade year, my mom made me wear a dress to school every day for I don't know if it was the whole. It seemed like the whole year.
I mean,
It
my
might-
daughter
might
do
have
it
just
every
been
Monday.
like a month or two. No,
Every
no.
Monday, my daughter had to wear a dress.
No, ma'am. It was every day for a period of time because I was such a tomboy. She was like, "I'm
Okay.
gonna need you to get your life together." You know, it wasn't until I think maybe my sophomore year in high school where I was like, okay, I like this like femininity, you know, kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
thing. But that's
Right.
why, you know, I hang with the fellas because
Right.
that was me for, you know, for so long. But it wasn't that part because even in my young dating life, I remember going on a date with someone one time and he seemed so violent. Like he seemed like that guy. I was like, ooh, he will never hear from me again. You know, because my dad was not a violent person, you know,
Right,
at all. I
right.
didn't see, and none of my uncles, none of the
Right.
men in his life or anything. But
Right.
what I did see that made me stay in my marriage a little bit longer, I did not see divorce.
Wow.
And so because I didn't see divorce, I thought that you're married, you get married once.
Right.
And maybe I'm guessing it'll change.
Right, right.
I'm guessing it'll get better because, you know, when we were growing up, you know, you stay out of grown folks' business. So we didn't really
Exactly.
know. We just know that they
I
were
know,
still
right?
together.
Right,
you know,
right.
after all these years. And so that was my thing. So
Yeah.
when I was married, I thought all men cheated back then. I was 22
Right.
when I married, and he wasn't going to cheat no time soon.
Right.
I was like, well,
Because you figured that was your out if he
Yes,
cheated?
I
Wow.
figured if he cheated, then I could
Then
get
you
out.
could get
That
out.
man wasn't cheating no time soon.
Wow.
You know, so I stayed longer to build up the case.
Wow.
I stayed longer to have a valid reason. Like when I
Right.
presented to my family, it's like
It was-
this has
it had to
yeah, because
go.
I'm not the one to
Isn't
stay.
Wow.
it funny, like, when you look back, like, some of the silliness and the immaturity and
Right.
the things and the choices you would
Right.
make in your 20s?
But we don't know
But we
because we
don't.
weren't
Yes,
told.
we weren't
told.
exactly, and I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. We weren't told. Everything was just we figured it out as we got older
Mm-hmm.
instead of our parents. And I think that's why we always tell our kids stuff. We always trying to help them and
Yes.
coach them,
Yes,
and they
I'm
hate
always-
it now. They like-
I'm always talking to the kids
Yes.
and just, you know, I'm having conversations with them. So we're going to continue this conversation after 7:30 Crazy. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for that 7:30 Crazy. You're listening to The Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9, and we'll be right back.
And I-
Welcome back. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Cindy B on Power 108.9. It's time for that 7:30 crazy when I read a little article and we decide whether we think it's 7:30 crazy or not. Crystal, you know. All right, you ready, Akila? I'm going to read a little something. This one, sometimes it comes from Fox because Fox can report some crazy news. This one comes from the Shade Room. Y'all ready?
Yeah, we ready.
All right. It says, "Ciao." We've heard of kissing cousins, but not like this. A Utah woman opens up about the moment she discovered that she not dated, married her cousin. According to Marcella Hill, she and her husband found out that they were third cousins while online looking for baby names, right? And they were, they discovered that their grandparents are actually first cousins.
Oh my God.
But get this. After making the discovery, the couple says that they immediately looked up the risks of having a child with your third cousin. The couple explained that they initially felt as if they had done something totally unacceptable, but it's safe to say that things have since returned to normal for the couple. We have won a prize for being the closest related in a neighborhood activity. Okay, so
Third cousin, that's kind of almost removed. That's not too bad.
ooh, but how would y'all feel about it though?
I would
Like
feel
that's my cousin. Like I'm
nasty.
close with a couple, with
I
maybe
think I would
one
feel
third
nasty.
cousin.
I don't know.
You don't
That
know.
will.
Now, if I love him and we got it going on,
I would have to
I would have to
stay.
say, listen, what we done.
Not you got it
listen,
going
we
on.
in now. No, we got it going on, right? My third cousin, I didn't know. We in a whole relationship. We married, right? You said married?
Yes, they're married.
We're married. Oh, we ain't getting no divorce. We
was
just
in
got
the
to count that
cards.
up as a mistake, right? Because when you think about it, a whole lot of people could be cousins.
That's true.
This
They
is
just
true.
ain't found out.
You're right. You're right. Now, third cousin's not the same
There's
as first
not,
cousin.
exactly. That's
But
like two,
Their
three
grandmothers
generations.
Were
They were
cousins.
first
That's
cousins.
pretty
They were
close.
not just cousins. They were first
First
cousins. Their
cousins.
grandmothers were first cousins.
But these are third cousins.
Yep. So,
But I'm married and I'm happy. I'm not
I
giving
know,
it
but
up.
we talking about okay. Ooh.
Would
I
you?
might have to
Give it
keep
up.
that to myself. I ain't telling nobody. I'm going to the grave with it.
I wouldn't divorce.
You think they told family?
They telling us.
Oh yes.
I'm reading it. They telling us. So they got to have told family.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have told family, but I'm not leaving my husband if he good.
Ooh.
We just got to be third
He
cousins.
better be good.
That's what I'm
He better
saying.
be good,
But
or
it
that's
sounds
my
like
out.
they said he's good.
All right, is it 7:30
my
crazy?
PTSD didn't kick
Okay. So 7:30 crazy. No.
7:30 crazy.
No, is it 7:30 crazy because they didn't know?
Right, they
But is
didn't
it
know.
7:30? Is it 7:30 crazy to stay?
No.
All right,
it's
7:30
not.
crazy to stay.
in. No.
You would leave me if you found out I was your third cousin?
Y'all, that's she talking to Michael, her hubby in the background. She like, you're not gonna leave me.
Not leaving me.
All right, I don't think it's 7:30 crazy
It's
to
not.
stay. However, you best to be on your great behavior. Okay, or that's my out. All right, that's 7:30 crazy. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation at R&B retreats. Make sure you stay tuned in. Relationships and business kitchen table talk this evening. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Cindy B on Power 108.9, and we'll be right back. Ain't leaving Crystal.
He would not
We
leave.
third cousins.
He would not leave.
But the baby is here.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. I've got my girls in the building. Also, my business partners of R&B Retreats, Crystal and Akila. Say hey to the people.
Hey, people.
What's happening?
Yes.
All right, so I found it very important to talk about relationships and business, not just with R&B Retreats, but that's pretty much been my focus for a while. Mm-hmm. Because from my personal experience, before my first marriage, I was on my own, you know, just thugging it out, figuring it out, handling everything, you know, on my own. Then I get married, and I wanted a little break from life, you know. I wanted a little break, you know. So he was doing well. I had more disposable income than he did, but he was making way more money than I did. I was like, oh, I can work with that, you know. I can help him pay down his credit cards and all of that. We have more disposable income, which is what happened, right? But I didn't really have to think about bills, right? And that's what I did until I hit the real estate market, and it was just booming. I could make my own schedule and all of that. But when we went through our separation, the real estate market had crashed. So I wasn't working. No, I was working. But what would happen is I would get a clear to close. They would tell me, you got to clear to close, but we still can't close because we don't have the money to close the loan. So I've still, because I had a real grand, you know, pipeline. And a lot of people had given up, you know, in the midst of it, but I didn't give up because as long as I could get a clear to close. And if you know anything about that business, clear to close is where it's at, you know. And when they told me on that clear to close that one day, and I have a whole payroll, you know, I had an assistant, and I took her out the strip club and everything. Like, to me, it was a big deal. Like, I felt the weight of the world. If it was just me, cool. But I was like, oh my gosh, no, she's been killing it, etc. And to know that I have no income coming in the midst of a separation, and he thought he could use that against me. Now, I don't know what I would have done if I had children, but I didn't have children at the time. And even though he had taken my credit card and taken my checkbook, you know, and all of that, I still left, right? Regardless that I only had like $180 to my name, you know, at that particular moment that I decided to leave in the middle of the night. But I never wanted to be in that situation again.
What was the reason for the separation, though? Why did you want to leave?
Oh, that one. So that one wasn't a trigger, you know, or like, I want to sabotage, right? So I've only brought home 3 people in my life.
Okay.
My parents have not met a bunch of guys over the years. My very first boyfriend in life, you know, he's my very good friend to this day. My first husband and my now husband. That's it. You know, so I was in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
But he was it's still very hard for me to say abusive. It's hard. It's still hard for me to say abusive because I still, even to this day, I'm still going to say that he's a good person. He's a good guy, but he was, you know, and controlling. And it was I remember the first time he picked me up and slammed me over the fireplace. I never experienced ever a man aggressive, forget about violent, aggressive with me, period. And I remember my eyes being like a deer in headlights and just busting out crying.
I know that feeling.
Yes.
And I remember him putting me over his shoulder and putting me in the bed. He felt awful. Right? He felt awful. So of course you're like, oh, he felt awful.
Yeah.
You know? And it wasn't a daily thing or a weekly thing, but when he started, everything that attracted him to me is what he wanted to hide and keep on the shelf.
Wow.
You know, the independence, the strength, the go get 'em and all those kinds of things. But anyway, over time, what was the last straw was I had my kid's godmother. Her son at the time was 15. His cousin was coming into town named DJ, and we had planned to go to Whitewater. So my ex-husband, he's dark skinned, so he was like, y'all go, I'm gonna go when the sun come down a little bit. But when he found out his cousin understood, hey, cool, you know, you can be light skinned and not want to be in the sun, so whatever. So it's like, cool, meet us there. But when he found out my who I call my godnephew was coming with his cousin, his cousin DJ, he was like, oh yeah, you can't go. And so y'all know I don't like nobody tell me what to
Right.
do, you know. But so I was like, "You so silly." I'm thinking he's playing.
I know, right?
He was not playing. He was like, "No, you can't go." I was like, "I'm going." You're weird, you know.
Right.
So I'm not a combative type of person, but I will say, you know, like that's weird. Like, don't be like that, you know.
Right.
But because I talked back to him,
Yes.
it was a whole situation to where I remember him picking me up and body slamming me on the
wow.
bed. He had his forearm in my chest, and I'm screaming to the top of my lungs, right? And I'm, you know, trying to fight back. At the end of it all, I had bruises on my arms
Wow.
from him grabbing me. He never balled up his fence to punch me or ever smack me, but it was always manhandling and body slamming. But this particular time, I guess I was screaming so much that the blood vessels burst in my face. So I had red
God.
spots
Wow.
all over my face. And then when I cry, I get puffy in the morning if I fall asleep on it. So the next morning, this is what I say. I look like I smoke cigarettes and drink cognac all day.
Wow.
Like I looked a hot mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I still went. But guess what?
Oh, you still went white?
You still went?
Yeah. Well, the next day,
You
you
was
know, of course he
brave.
sees me. Well, no, he sees me, right?
Okay,
He's like,
got you.
You know. But
Okay.
guess what? This is the kicker. He thought DJ was a boy, but DJ was a girl.
Oh, wow.
DJ was a girl cousin. And so, of course, then he felt awful. But after that, but that wasn't it. When I saw my kid's godmother, my very close friend, and she said, "What happened to your face?" And I lied. That was it.
Wow.
That was it for me. I was like, that was the first time I ever lied, because I never had any like bruises to show before. I had worn like a cute like little swim shawl, you know, so she couldn't see my arms, but you can't hide my face. And so the very first time I lied was the very last time. But then I told him, I said, you know, he needed to get help and all that, but it took him a long time to get help, and so then I'll end up leaving.
Yes.
And all of that. It took him, and that's why I always say therapy does work, but you have to be consistent.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I do share the story that he went to anger management, he went to therapy, and he went to a men's group all in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Every single week, he did not miss a beat, and it still took
Wow.
him a year for me to see change.
Wow.
And he did not miss a beat. He did, and he
Wow.
did eventually.
You
You know,
went
Yeah.
to get help.
Yeah.
and so
That's
as a coach, when I have people who like dibble dabble in their sessions and like they get a breakthrough and then they don't come for, you know, they don't show up for their sessions or
Yeah.
they cancel their sessions. I'm like, you guys don't understand, you had a breakthrough, but you still have to get in the habit of new habits.
yes. Yes.
You know, because
That's
we've been
it.
operating the way that we've been operating for a long time.
Right.
You know, so yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So do you
Wow.
find that men in relationships take longer or to get the help, or don't get the help and they go straight into another relationship, makes it bad for
I don't
another
think they go
relationship?
straight into it. The men, I think women, we go right back into another relationship. I think men, they be like, F relationships. Like,
Right.
even if they're the one in the wrong, they be
Right.
like, no thanks. you
Right,
know?
right. But they just don't get the help that they need.
I think it depends on their background and what's acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, because you can come from certain neighborhoods or certain families where it's promoted. You know,
Yes.
help is promoted. But where he was from, he came from a great home, like
Yeah.
a great home. But they had a home that had been there for years. So the neighborhood had changed, but they stayed in that home. Beautiful home, beautiful family, wonderful family. So he did not grow up like that.
Right. Got
In
you.
his house.
Got
But his
you.
neighborhood, that's what he saw. He saw the men beat. No, he saw them beat women.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He saw, you know, like ball your fist up, punch in
Right.
the face. You know, but he did not see that at home.
Okay.
at all. But you know, he was the guy. He was the only boy of two sisters.
Okay.
And so he was allowed to be in the neighborhood. You know, and all that. He was a very successful individual. But how he handled, he was a sensitive person. But he
Yeah.
could not be sensitive. And then he went to school, he pledged, and he played football. All scenarios where you cannot be sensitive, you know,
Right.
at all.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And so I think about that a lot, you know, when it comes to men, as much as where my heart still goes out, you know, is the things that they've experienced. And if they don't get help, you know, we can't take on that burden, but we can have empathy.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Definitely. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's when I talk about relationships and business, and when we talk about it, you know, I think about in the standpoint, I think we talked on the last live, where I think about single fathers who don't get a chance to see their
Right.
kids.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Right.
because either they don't have the finances, you know, to go to court, or they've been to court and maybe situations have changed, and their child support is wiping their income away. You know,
I was
So-
in a situation, I was like the long-term relationship girl. I had 3 major long-term relationships in my life. And one of those was the first and only guy that I had dated, who had children.
okay,
So he had 2 children. He was paying child support. And the woman he had the 2 children with, their oldest child, which he wasn't the biological father, her father died. And when she was like 4, she asked him to be her father.
Okay.
Right? He took care of them in spite of the child support because, and I hate to put people's business out here, but this is a great example which gave me compassion for men in that situation because I experienced it.
Yeah.
So she was on public assistance, the mother. So they would take thousands of dollars out of his check, but only give her $50 of it. So guess what? The children still need clothes and support
Right.
and school supplies.
Oh my
so
gosh,
not only was he paying child support, he was also taking care of them outside of the child support
That's a
he
good
was
father.
paying.
wow,
And for years. And I remember one time he came home and he was frustrated. And he was like, you know what, that's it. I'm changing my phone number. And I grew attached to the children. They would come over on the weekend and everything like that. I still talk to his daughter to this day. And he was like, I'm changing my phone number. That's it. I don't want anything to do with the kids, this, that, and the other. I literally had to talk him. It took about 3 weeks because he needed to calm down. He was just like giving up. And I was like, you're still their father at the end of the day, because on top of all of that, she was still stressing him out.
Yeah.
Because she was jealous of our relationship.
of course,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I remember
He was taking on a lot.
Yes.
And one of the positions that I take, you know, now when it comes to fathers who, you know, they have their child's mother is just giving them a hard time because,
Yes.
you know, it's in Georgia, you know, you have no legal rights to your
You
own
don't.
born child if you weren't married. If
Exactly.
you were married, it's different. But
Yeah.
if you had a child out of wedlock, you have to go to court.
You have to go to court.
to have any kind of
Yes.
rights. Forget child support or custody, just to have legal rights.
Yes.
You know, and it's a whole process. And
Oh, wow.
that's not everywhere, but
Yeah.
I definitely know that here.
That's
in
in
the state of
Delaware
Georgia.
too, because when I had my children and they told me he can take them and I can take them. Either that the kids don't belong to neither one of us.
Because you were married.
Because we
Yeah.
weren't even married.
Oh, the laws are
The
different.
laws
there.
was
Yeah.
like because nobody had custody, so I literally had to go to court and get custody of my children in order
Dang,
to
so they just wayward children.
Exactly. And even here in Georgia, like you said, it's in Georgia because if you don't have custody of your child, he can go, the father, if he's on the birth certificate, he can go to school, pick him up and keep that child until you go to court and they decide who gets custody.
Well,
And
that's
wow.
so.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. In Georgia, the mom immediately has legal rights. She doesn't have to go to court or anything. Now, with the schools and things like that, they don't get involved in civil matters. If you show that you on a birth certificate, they'd be like, I ain't got nothing to do with the rest.
Yeah.
you know,
You have to bring court papers.
Yes,
to-
you do.
yeah.
But I have you know, a bit of empathy, you know, me being a co-parent, you know, myself, and I wasn't in the beginning the best co-parent, and I'll be honest, you know, about that.
What you
And
mean, Syndy?
I wasn't
Yeah.
my scenario was a bit different to
Yeah.
where I tried to work things out in the beginning.
Yes.
And so I wanted to go to court. Since we couldn't work it out on our own, it was very stressful. My blood pressure had gone up high and things like that. When I say not a good co-parent, not a messy one.
Right.
It was
right.
just like, okay, since we can't work it out and you're stressing me to like to where they're keeping me in the hospital.
Right.
Let's go to court, you know, let's work it out. Whereas if, you know, looking back, you know, I don't even know if I could have done anything else differently.
Right.
However, if he didn't have a family that, let's say he was one of those, like my baby mom, you know, and then he just don't do anything.
Right.
That would have been his scenario, and I would have been good with that, is what I mean. You know what
Okay,
I'm saying?
got
So it's
you.
like, I didn't do anything where, you know, like crazy or
Yeah.
anything along those lines, because that's just not who I am. However, it was
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
until we go to court, let's just
Yeah.
be
It's
like
crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't
isn't
do
it?
any of that with my kids.
crazy.
I just let, my ex-husband or their
Yeah.
father, he can get them for the weekend. He took care of the kids. We didn't do child support. He's a very good father to my children. Now my sister's children that I raised, it's totally different. We got
Yeah.
deadbeat daddies who didn't do anything, and
Yeah.
just a whole lot of commotions that can come into their lives. So I found myself being more protective over them when it came to their parents, right? So it wasn't free they can go, because I don't know
Yeah.
where they're gonna go, where they're gonna
Exactly.
end up at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that it was like
That's different.
that
Yeah.
that and it's still even like that till today, and they're grown. But with my other children, it was no problem. Long he
Yeah.
was a good father, good dad. I didn't do that whole child support stuff. I didn't need it. I took care of what I needed to take care of, and that's just
Yeah.
how it was.
Yeah.
Kudos to anybody else who do it, but
Yeah.
he was there picking up his kids every weekend, every time he wanted them for vacation. It was no problem.
Yeah.
Anything that they
Yeah.
need, he was a great
Yeah.
father. Even
Yeah.
to this day, he's a good
Yeah.
grandfather
Yeah.
to them grandkids.
And I think about, in my particular scenario, it was like it was a traumatic. The court system was a traumatic experience for me, but I deserved to go through that, in my opinion, because it made one. I wasn't making the best choices. If I didn't have the best advice in my
Right.
ear, I was like,
Yeah.
only one of my friends had children at that time, and so it's like, girl, you good, because that's kind of what they saw,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I never had the position where he couldn't be around. It was just like, until we
Yes.
got this black and white, because I'm a black and white kind of person,
Right.
I'm like, let's have some
Has to be
rules
written
here,
out.
like let's have some rules, because then like we all
Were you
know where we're-
controlling, like when the kids did go with him? Were you like
one kid,
one kid, right?
Yeah.
Did they had to? Did she?
No.
Did he? Okay,
because
good.
we got into court pretty swiftly.
Okay.
He was an
Wow.
infant. He was like
Okay.
only 4 months by the time we had
Oh, wow.
paperwork. So it was
Okay.
a very short period of time. But
Yeah.
I'll say this: if he didn't have a family, which is how our family would be, that was like, oh hell no,
Okay.
And I think about scenarios that I know, scenarios that I know where they might have gone through the same thing, but then the dad is like,
Okay.
I mean, she won't let me, right?
Okay, gotcha.
But there's options. And so when I hear stories like that now, because I've been through that experience,
Yeah.
I tell those dads, have you fought?
Exactly.
Because at this point, you have no reason to be mad at her because you haven't fought. You have no
Exactly.
reason to be mad at the court system because you haven't fought.
Right.
And when I think of R&B retreats, when I think of contracts and grants, with Linda, when I think of you, a nonprofit and business funding, and us, mental health,
Right.
on my side, when I think about what we're doing, I think about scenarios right there where we're solidifying a solid foundation,
Yes.
so that no matter what happens, with the economy or whatever, that we're sound in our finances if we're struggling, or that we're in a position to where our finances are allocated, whether it's trusts
Yes,
or
yes.
whatever, so that we can operate in a sense of
Structure,
authenticity,
yes.
and not out of desperation.
That's right.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so
Yes.
that's what I'm thinking about. So we're going to end there. We're going to continue this conversation, but we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for What Would Sin Say? So make sure you stay tuned in. You're listening to The Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9, and we'll be right back. Back. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. It is time for What Would Sin Say, when we try our best as swiftly as possible to answer. Okay, you're familiar with What Would Sin Say, but where we answer as swiftly as possible. So these are not supposed to be long responses, but swift responses on questions or comments that slide in my DMs, come to my emails, etc., etc. Michael, what you got for us?
Hold on, why I got eyelashes and my makeup looking good and everything? Oh my goodness, I grabbed the wrong phone. I grabbed the wrong phone. Here, let's put your phone right there.
Yes.
I'm looking real glamorous for that second.
That is too funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I was taking over her IG. No, not today. All right, so here we go. First question. My husband is ignoring me and not showing affection because he can't talk to the woman he bought something for and said inappropriate things to. He wanted to be friends with her still. I said no. I sent her a message yesterday to ask her to stop talking to him. That we were working on our marriage. Am I wrong? He sent her a gift because she was having a bad day. He's withholding all affection. He says he's empty because he's depressed, but he flirts with another woman. I'm so confused. I think I'm being strung along till he's working again. Am I just worrying? Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Over nothing.
Crystal.
Heck no, getting burned over
Look,
nothing.
she was all moving in her seat.
No. Number one, he shouldn't be sending nobody a gift, period. That's personal. You know, I can see giving her words of encouragement, but then you getting that woman attached, right? You're opening her up because it's like, oh, he care about me, think about me. And what else is going behind the scenes?
Okay.
Because you know about this, but what else is going behind the scenes? So, honey, no, you're not worrying. Move along. Close the door. Find somebody that's going to love you and be there for you.
Okay, Akila.
I definitely concur. That definitely triggers me. This is my husband. This is my man. You go out and you find and do what you need to do. Yeah. I more than likely we both would have just confronted her at the same time to make it clear. Like, are we clear?
Why
are we all in
confronting her,
consensus
though?
here? No, just all three of us.
Oh, gotcha.
Her and my husband.
Okay.
We all would have gotten together and make sure everyone was in consensus.
Yes.
With this will never happen again.
Yes, never.
Yeah.
Never. You got that little encouragement. Take it and go. Take it and go.
Michael laughing because he already.
Don't mess with my
Hold on, I'm just saying, that's like when you get into a fight with someone and then your mama said, we going back down there.
Yes.
And you got to go back down there to see the guy who you just
Right.
That's what she's talking about.
Right.
Come
No,
on.
we're not doing that.
We ain't doing that.
We're not doing that.
Showing
but
up
let me
together.
tell you
I'm
something. We're not showing up together. We're not. But you are gonna handle it to her.
Yes.
That's what you're gonna do. I remember this scenario with Ryan and this particular young lady. No one that I thought he would ever be attracted to. However, you're a little bit too emotional with my man.
Yes.
Okay? I'm gonna need you to find another shoulder to cry on.
Right.
It will not be my man, but you can give me a call.
How about
You can
that?
give me a
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
Okay, but you're not. And then she got emotional with him and like got mad at him. I was like, the only woman that can get mad with him is his mama and me.
Only.
Okay, so let's not get it twisted.
So you shut that down.
What? Play that. No, but we can now. He can come to me like, oh, she's going through a rough time. I'll be like, I'll get her something. I'll bring it to her,
Right.
or I'll
I will.
send it.
I will.
Okay.
Yes. There we go.
Play with me. All right.
Yeah.
Next.
That was a good one.
Y'all so petty. Oh my God. Y'all so damn petty.
Wednesday.
All right, here we go. So I love your new setup, Cindy B.
Thank you
This
so
looks
much.
cute. Yeah. So intimate.
Yes.
Girl.
You
I'm
know.
glad you can't see me. Yeah, I'm glad you can't see me. All right, so here we go. So because my husband has done some questionable things, I have trust issues with him. I go through his phone and check phone records as well. Upon doing so, number one, I seen a 26-minute conversation between him and another female. Found number saved in his contacts. The call was erased from all the call records. Totally raised a red flag. Number two, I also found deleted text messages from what seemed to be an ex or someone he had some type of dealings with. I took a picture with my phone. What do you guys think? Or is that a number three?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So okay, and with that, so what do you guys think?
All right,
The
Akilah,
two red
She
flags.
needs some self-healing at that point. To be in a position where you have to look into a person's phone, if you go looking, you will find something
will.
because you're coming from that mindset. You will
But
definitely.
you ain't about to do nothing. That'd be the part for me.
Yeah.
You find it, you ain't about to do nothing. But
Exactly.
okay.
Stressing
Yeah.
yourself out and creating stories. We don't have evidence of what that is. Maybe he knows she's possessive and crazy, so he's like, "Let me get rid of
But
this."
he also
can be nothing.
anyone that continuously, it sounds like he habitually does this.
Yes.
He knows that you're gonna stay, so you bring it to him. He gonna find his way out of it, and you ain't about to do nothing.
And you ain't gonna do nothing.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
this is not me asking the questions. I'm reading the questions. It's not
Yes.
me. You looking at me like, it's not me. I'm just reading questions.
She's not going to take the advice. She already knows she doesn't trust him, right? She already
Yeah.
knows she doesn't trust him because you're going through his phone. So why are you in a relationship with somebody you don't trust?
Yeah,
Move on, because it's not going to change. He's not going to change his stripes.
it's just gonna drive her crazy.
Yes.
but y'all may not know. But I just say, is this what we doing?
Right.
This is what we doing. Because if you can do it, then I can too. Okay. So as long as that's what I say to my husband. Like, if you're good with it, I'm good with it.
What
You
we
know?
doing?
You know,
What we
is this-
doing?
Is this what we on? You know, because this ain't what you want. You know, but we can if you want to. Now, when it comes to checking phones, I haven't checked phones in a long time. But in the beginning, I know, right? But in the beginning, maybe the first, probably few years of our relationship and marriage, I do what I call quality control.
Okay.
Because he.
What does that look like? What does that look
It's like
like?
every
She have a
once a
compliance
year.
officer come in.
It's like once a year, because you don't check it, so they not really like, oh, let me
Okay.
delete.
Okay.
You know. So if you have I don't mean to put this in your head, But if you have a
Random
man who
checks.
don't really be doing anything,
Right.
you're not gonna find much, but you can find like openings. Right?
Openings,
When
got
someone
you.
to me, it's learning time.
There you go. Right.
It's like, okay,
Somebody DMing.
are you good if this particular male sent the same thing? Because if you
Right.
good with it,
Right.
I always close with
Right.
that. If you good with it, I promise
Yes.
you I'm totally good
You
with
sound
it.
Yes,
like me.
yes.
Just be like, oh, so
I
this
had-
is okay. I just want to know that this is okay.
But
We're
mine is
changing the
not.
rules?
I'm not sarcastic and I'm not playing. I'm like, for real. Like, I promise you.
Now,
I'm
for
good
me,
with
for
it.
the phones used to trigger me. And so when I first started dating my husband, he would always come in, turn his phone down, and probably low or whatever, turn it over, and that just because
Ooh,
I
I
had
remember you
cheating,
saying
I
that
had
before.
cheating spouses before,
Yeah.
that cheated, and so I had to let him know how I was feeling. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because I'm like, this is bothering me. Like, why is he doing this? Is he cheating on me?
Yeah.
All this stuff going through my mind. And then one day I just said, why do you turn your phone over when you come home? And he was like, that's just what I do. I've always did that. I just come home, put my phone down. I don't want to see nothing pop up because I don't want to get on it.
Right.
So he was doing what he needed to do, but it was triggering me.
Absolutely.
And so I said, okay, can you do me a favor until I get healed? You know what I'm saying? So I work through this process. Don't turn it over.
But I love that because Ryan and I, we talk. If something triggers either one of us, we
Yes.
talk about the triggers
Yes.
in a healthy space.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to heal from your triggers or at least you want to work on them and
Right.
acknowledge. But if you acknowledge them, then you can work on them together. What you got to say?
I have a question because my tattoo artist, we were talking about this very thing yesterday, and he set it up like you're the A role in your life and your spouse is the B role, and if in this same scenario, exactly what you spoke of, that Crystal should have gone off and healed it within herself and got right within herself,
Sure.
and then came back from a healed perspective,
Right.
instead of emotional.
And it wasn't
Well,
emotional.
if you're not
It was
in a
No, not emotional.
Oh.
This is a learning experience
Yes.
for me. I have a question.
Got you.
So that's what we do.
Yes.
What you did.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I was trying to explain to him. Like, I feel like, hey, let's work through this together.
Right.
And he was presenting the idea that relationship means we're supposed to relate. When we start placing boundaries on the other person, that we're putting a cage around that person, one bar at a time, and we're saying like, I need you to turn your phone up to make me feel comfortable. And I'm so happy we're having this conversation, right? Because I liked his idea yesterday, but I respond like you.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you should not, because you're trying to force this person to conform to make you comfortable, and you're not doing the work you need to do. So are you facing your real trigger if he just decides to flip the phone?
So the difference,
from
the
it is what he was trying to
difference,
say.
the difference is if he was like, if she was like, I need you to turn up your phone, then she's not doing the work.
Exactly.
But she just opened the conversation. Well, he should not turn up his phone.
Right.
He really should. Now,
Yeah.
if he decides he wants to,
Right.
and it's not like an effort, it's like, oh, a big deal, then cool. But he should not turn up his phone.
Right.
But what it gave her the opportunity to share, and it gave him the opportunity to share and bring clarity in the scenario. She still got work. She still has work
I still did
to
my
do,
work.
but he doesn't have to change. Now, when you're like, I need you to, because it's a trigger.
Exactly. Exactly.
Then that's her not doing the work
Right.
at that
Yeah.
point in time.
Right.
So it really, if you're having communication for clarity, so that she can move forward, in understanding that this is her work, then cool. But if you're putting the work on the other
Exactly.
person, then that's where the problem
Yeah.
lies. So the individual you're speaking to, he spoke correctly.
Yes.
Right. He definitely spoke correctly, yesterday, when it comes to doing the work yourself, but you still have to have communication. You don't want to work by yourself.
Exactly.
And you're over here. When you're connected to someone, they know when you're off.
Yes.
You don't want to
Yes.
go a little deeper.
Yes. So for
But wait, we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that for after what
Yes.
was Sensei.
Yes.
I'm gonna write
Okay,
it down.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just FYI, fellas, just tell them that when you go to sleep at night, if your phone is up, the light will light up the room if you get notifications. That's why I turn it over. I'm just so used to turning
Yes.
my phone over.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what, Michael.
But he had to communicate
Two
that to
Michaels
me.
in the building
Right. He had to communicate
And we're both
that.
AELs, by the way,
yes.
too, right?
AEL.
What is that?
MICHAEL. Some
Oh,
people
Michael.
spell
Michael,
it
yes.
EAL. We don't do that over here.
No, we don't.
All right,
know
can we
that.
get on with the show, please?
Okay.
I thought this was quick.
It's supposed to be quick. Okay,
I didn't know.
What's next? What's
Okay,
next?
go ahead. That was deep.
That's what she said.
You know what? She was lying. She was lying. Okay, what's next?
Did we
I'm
help
so
her
glad they
out?
can't see me. I'm so glad they can't see me. All right, y'all ready? All right, so
Yes.
here's the scenario. Can you come up with an agreement and take it to a notary? Can you do that? I don't care how stupid it sounds, but I'm doing it for my kid. So, due to our agreement to put my career on hold for the sake of our child, I think he needs to agree to help me out financially. If the verbal abuse does not stop and I need to leave him and get a place on my own for a certain amount of time or until I find a full-time job. Is that possible?
I'm gonna let y'all respond.
Okay, so wait a minute. He's verbally abusive,
That's what she said. But
and he's verbally abusive.
she wants an agreement in the event that he doesn't change or whatever the case may be. That if she leaves, he has to financially take care of her.
Oh.
If she leaves, because they've decided to stay home.
Oh,
I'm confused.
yeah.
Okay.
So
they're
basically,
in a
no court.
relationship.
No
they,
court.
they-
No court.
Well, she wants to have a written agreement and
written agreement.
notarized so
And
that
notarized.
and the judge can. I'm not an attorney. However, the judge can be like, that makes no sense, and be done with it. So
yeah.
I'm not an attorney,
'Cause
but
verbal abuse
okay.
is work.
But what she's saying is, right now our agreement is I stay home and raise the kid or children while you go and you take care of the finances in the household. But she's saying, but he's verbally abusive, and I don't know if I'll necessarily want to stay in this if he doesn't get that together. So I want to go to a notary, get it signed that if I leave him, he still has to help me financially. He still has to help me financially because our agreement is that I stay home with the kids. So I don't have a means of income right now. And I just feel like she's lazy and manipulative.
Okay, so financially, she would have to. Number one, if you're talking about financially, are you going to be living at this? Because he can go put you in a motel and say,
Girl,
take
I'm
care of you
done with this
financially.
conversation. I'm done with
So
her. She a mess.
is he going to really put me in
And
a
he
nice?
ain't about to do nothing.
Exactly.
He ain't about to-
Yeah, don't sign the agreement.
Leave.
You thought he was verbally abusive?
Right.
He about to be like, bitch, please. All right, what's next?
And second of all, from the way she spelled it, she ain't finding a full-time job.
Oh,
So
you know what, ma'am.
I'm just saying.
That's not
I'm
nice.
just saying. I'm just being real. We're just being real. All right, here we go. Number 4.
Okay.
Number 4. I believe that marriage is an embarkment on a new journey and shared lifestyle together. When you're married, you're no longer an individual. You're a team, right? Question mark.
All right, Crystal.
I think you're both. You're still an individual because I'm not him and he's not me. We're a team together. Oh, we're a team. We're looking at the. Okay, I'm looking at him. I think it's both. You're still your individual self. You still are your person, right? But you're a team together, which means in that relationship, you guys are coming together. You guys are coming together. So for me, you're both. You're individual and you're a team.
Akila?
I agree. So you definitely need to have your own thing. Like, I love yoga. I can't find anyone that I've ever dated that wanted to come do yoga with me. Right? Just like, it's like me. I mean, I think you have to have your own thing.
Yes.
It's like him trying to force me to go play ball with him. Right?
So done with him.
Exactly. But it's so funny, right? They all say,
I'm a
I think
tree.
I need yoga, but they'll never come. On my back, I think I need yoga. I was like, yeah, come on, I'm going today. Be like, nah.
Man. Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely need your own thing. I think you need to keep your individuality.
Yes.
That was part of my PTSD. I felt like I couldn't move on in a relationship because the other one consumed me so much that if I agree to be your girl, that means my life is over. So I definitely respect people's hobbies and freedoms and come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like you're an individual and
Yes.
you bring that together in your relationship. So yes. Don't lose who you are. You'll regret that
Don't.
later, and it will show up. It will definitely show up later in the challenging times. Michael,
You got one more.
I do. Oh, okay. What we got?
Okay.
Yeah, so we got one more. Number 5. What's this segment?
What was Sensei?
So I got to get illustrated with this one. Okay. I really do. All right, so how do you feel about waking up to your partner
Oh Lord.
looking at porn and going at it next to you?
Oh.
I just had to do it.
With the sister girl.
Let's go down.
Oh no.
I think it's a full consensus.
Oh, snap.
I would be
going down.
I think I would be like, what are you doing? Like,
Number one, I would be so offended.
yeah, I would be offended.
I would be so offended and disgusted,
Same.
hurt. I would feel like, and
I wouldn't
also
be hurt,
would put
but I
something.
would be disgusted.
Yeah, I would be hurt because I'm laying here practically.
Yes, like
It's
all you
open.
had to do.
It's open market here. What we doing?
Right, okay.
You know why? So and then it would be like, of course, when you see something like that, it goes. How long has this been happening?
Yeah, just
Maybe
down the
this
rabbit hole.
a
at
whole
this
lot
point.
of
Okay,
stuff.
I don't have a problem with it. We can watch it together.
No. You asleep.
You was asleep,
asleep.
You
and
was
he was
asleep.
getting it in with himself.
So it wasn't
Yeah.
like, hey babe, let's do. Let's,
Yes.
it was
Yes.
like you woke up.
You was asleep.
and he was going.
He ain't even-
at it,
he ain't
honey.
even invite
was
you
like-
in.
He was like, "Look, I don't even need her. I don't need her.
I wouldn't get offended.
I
just
girl,
wouldn't.
I would be offended. Like,
I
do
just
that
would
on your
not.
own time. Like,
Yes.
do that on your own time. I'm
I
not
wouldn't.
gonna.
Why you wouldn't?
I'm not gonna pretend like I don't think that they do that, right?
Exactly.
But do while I'm laying
do
in the
that
bed.
on your own time. I'm
Right.
going out of town.
I'm out of
gone.
town. Exactly.
Like, do that on your own time. I don't want no parts of it. I I'd probably get up and just start
I would
my
be
day.
so mad. I would be mad.
Oh my God.
But why would you? Tell me why
Okay,
you would
no,
be
we're
mad.
gonna pause. We're gonna pause. We're gonna talk about that when we come back from the break. That was what was Sensei. Make sure you stay tuned in and share. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9, and we'll be right back.
I want to the audience.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. I've got my girls, Crystal and Keela, in the building. We have just been cutting up off the off the breaks. We done put the business aside for a second. So what would Sensei? Okay, what would Sensei is supposed to be quick, right? But sometimes we get some things and we just we just keep this thing going. Okay, so there were a couple things. Let's get back to the phones. No. I think we're good with that. Okay, individual, being an individual,
Yes.
or losing yourself, in the relationship, all that. I think I wanted to bring that up because I operate in my marriage with some things that are more untraditional, to feed myself, feed my own, individual. For example, I'm a loner by nature. And even though people don't see that, because a lot of times they meet me in a business aspect, right?
Yeah.
So of course I'm present,
Yeah.
or they meet me at one of my girlfriend's functions and I'm present because of her. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to
yes.
make sure all her guests feel great, But anyone who's really close to me, they know that I'll disappear for a little while. I'll actually disappear to it could be 100 people
Mm-hmm.
in that space. It could be 100 people at my house, and I'm going upstairs for about 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes, But in our household, we're pretty good about giving each other space. Like we might be
Yes,
upstairs,
yes.
downstairs, and then I might emerge down the steps after a couple hours, like, hey, what you been
Yes.
doing? And it just is so wonderful. But every now and then when I feel, especially when I'm business a lot and I have things that I need to take care of, I actually will book a hotel. And it will be, it's not an ask permission.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
all right. Let me look at the calendar, see what we've got going on, see what's the best day, and it could be a day or two. It depends on what I have to get accomplished. And I remember having this conversation with a couple people before, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay at the hotel." And one person was like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Everything is fine."
Right.
I just have some work that I need to do, and I really need to focus, and I need a different environment because I work from home.
Yes.
So I need a different environment. And I need to know that no one's going to like call my name, and that is not traditional. It's either
Right.
something's wrong or like they got to be there too. Now, granted, I'll work, if it's a one day, I'll work all day. I'll check in real early, work all day till about 6 or 7. And then the family will come and join me. If it's a 2-day, they'll come and join me that night and they'll go back home. And usually my husband, he'll drop me off. We'll have breakfast together and then I'll get to work and then he'll come, with the kids later. We'll have dinner. Usually a lot of times I pick a spot that has a pool so they can go indoor.
Indoor, yes,
pool,
yes.
And they'll go swim. I have my time with them. If it's a 2-day, they'll go back home and he'll come get me at checkout.
I
That's
actually
good.
love
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually love that. I think that's huge for someone to support you like that.
Yes.
And that you've talked it out, and this is something that's filling me up and it's refueling me, and I can come back. Because to be honest, what you do is needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think women really need to listen to what you just
Yes.
said. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yes.
Because I couldn't imagine doing what I'm doing now. I was not an entrepreneur when I was raising my child. I had a 9 to 5 and I came home to him every night.
Yeah.
There was no travel, anything.
Yeah.
I was a full-time mom and a full-time employee. But to do what I'm doing now
Yeah.
with children,
Yep.
Yeah.
that is huge, Cindy.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
You
I
need
try
that.
to share that, but I know that to be honest with you, a lot of women would be, if it's the woman that's trying to do it, a lot of women would be scared to bring that because
Right.
it's not normal.
Right, right.
But if you're a trustworthy individual, you
Exactly.
move the right
That-
way.
I was gonna say
and
that.
you do it like, I don't be like, I'm out.
Right.
And just be gone for
Exactly.
2 days. Nobody hears from me.
Right.
Right.
It's all right. Can you drop me off? Let's have breakfast. He knows exactly where I'm at. I'm doing my work. He actually doesn't disturb me during those hours. And then they're coming, to me.
Yes.
And like it is a safe, thing that we do.
Yes, and it's trust.
Yeah,
It's trust.
I think it is trust. And I think if the guy is the one trying to do it, the female might think he got something else
Right.
going on
Yeah.
just because of the experiences that
Yes.
we've had doesn't allow us to always trust the individual to be who we are
Yeah.
and to operate in our individualness in our marriage.
That's
How did
good.
you get to that place, in your opinion?
That was definitely work. I definitely knew, even though my first marriage didn't work out, I never felt like I didn't want to marry again. But I did know what I did not want.
Yeah.
I definitely knew that I did not want to pretend to be someone else.
Yeah. Yes.
I am I'm a mix between the modern woman and the traditional woman. When I first started my marriage, I definitely was the cook, the clean, all of that. But when I became more entrepreneurial, I could not do all of that at the capacity that I was doing it,
Yeah.
And I just think when you operate in who you are, it's not sketchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
So it's
it.
like when you like all of a sudden, like I always tell my husband, don't be trying to do new stuff now.
Yeah.
Like you ain't never done this.
Right.
Now you're doing it. Now I got some problem. you
Right.
know? But if you operate in who you are,
That's
even
it.
even if the circumstance, like maybe it's not a hotel, maybe it's something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe it looks different, but it's still the same essence of who you
Yeah.
are. It's not sketchy. It's just who
Yeah.
you are. Now, you can like it or not. Like, if it works with who your person is,
Yeah.
then you guys can work it together.
Yeah.
If it's like, I respect that, but it doesn't work for me, that's cool too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you
'Cause
just got to
think
stand in who
about
you
it.
are.
Yeah, because it's all about trust. Because I told you my 3 ex-husbands all cheated, right? And so for me, I had to each one understand that because that one did it, this one did not. Now, truly, when I started dating, my husband here, I had to put that trust. So I had to work on that without even telling him.
Yeah.
That was a comment. That was something I had to continue to process and said, no, he can go for hours and not talk, call or whatever, because that's just how he was. He didn't have to call and check in and here I'm, but I had to say, nope, he's a man of integrity. He's doing what's right. He's working. So I had to work that out within myself. And it's about building that trust within you, because when you put your trust in somebody else, it's going to always fail.
Yeah.
So you got to
yeah.
put
You
that
gotta
trust
believe
in
in
you,
yourself.
right? I had to believe in me
Yeah.
and put that trust in me. And that way I didn't put it on him,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he can go. He can say, I'm going to my boy's house. I'm going to go to Boston. I'm going to see a couple of school friends. And I ain't calling them on the phone. I ain't checking in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because I trust him. I
Exactly.
trust me and I
Yeah.
trust him.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I worked on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is so amazing. Because if you think about what we do, we make so many decisions.
Yeah.
So you need that solace, that time,
Yes.
because now you're still making decisions with the children.
Exactly.
So it's never off for you. You would be insane without what
Yes,
you're doing.
you
It's like
have
you're
to.
working from home, then the
Yeah.
kids come
Yes.
home, then they got to eat, then you're looking at it might be the time where your
Yes.
house is messy.
Yeah.
And somebody it's just
You're managing your home.
And,
when
I
you
would-
and
come
even
home.
when
I
they
would
get
go crazy.
older, even when they get older, like my teens,
Yeah.
even though they're older, I'm still
Managing
there's
them
still
when you
things
come
going
home.
on. And the other day, I was just like, I just started crying to my husband, like, I feel the weight of them. They're teens now, but it's still a weight of them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's still a weight of, like, especially if they're not going the direction that they can go, and they go another direction. So I literally had to cry on him. Then I said, I need to get in the car.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to get in my car and drive and call a girlfriend and fuss for a second, and then call another girlfriend that's going to help me get done,
Yeah.
do what I needed to do. But I had to get that out, So I think that's good that you do
Yeah.
take that time to get get away. And I know I'm going back to that, because that's what I used to do. I used to take a Friday off and just go away for 4, 5, 6 hours.
yeah.
And so I need to go back to that.
The
Oh my
same thing.
gosh.
How could you not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yes.
how y'all cannot do, because I never experienced that,
Yeah.
but I'm experiencing this.
Yes.
And it's overwhelming, but now I can come home and be alone.
Yes.
That's my silence.
Yes.
So if I go off to a conference and I'm working and I'm speaking for a few days and I'm on, I can come home
Right.
in peace.
Right.
But you
Yes.
would
Yeah.
need to come home and
Yeah.
still manage kids, their
Household,
problems,
yes.
their
Yeah.
issues.
Yes.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about in October when I was on the recession proof tour, right? One of the stops, I think this was the last stop or of that particular week, and I think this was Denver. And the weather was beautiful for the inauguration, but the next day it was supposed to snow. So Marcus, he changed his flight for that night, like a red eye out, right? And I almost changed it. But then I was like, he's a man. He'll get to go home and really not have
Right.
no shout out, no shade to
Right,
the,
right.
to the
To the
dads.
guys.
But he won't have that same responsibility that I will have when I go home, because I almost changed my flight too. Like, I don't want to get trapped in the snow. But I was like, Denver should be accustomed to what the snow. Airport
Yes,
should be
yes.
accustomed to the snow. So only thing I asked was, when is the snow supposed to start?
Right.
And then when they told me, I was like, I think I'll be all right, which I was. But it allowed me to, because I'm
Yes.
I'm working. But Denver was the last stop, so we had three cities in that same week. And so it allowed me to sleep in. I walked across the street in
Yes.
the snow to breakfast. I
Yeah.
had a great breakfast. And then it was like, all right. Like, by the time my flight, it was time to go to the airport, I'm like, that was nice. Now I'm
Yes.
refueled and I'm ready to go be home and be present.
Yes.
You have
yes,
to.
You have
It's
to.
like when you come from task
Yes.
to task.
Yes.
Like, you can't just go,
Right.
go. And that's what it is
Yes.
with raising
And the-
children.
And the great thing about
Yeah.
her being present is that the kids don't resent it.
Yeah.
You know, because so many
Exactly.
people, they build business and their kids are left to the wayside. And then you got all this going on and these kids are resenting it
Yeah.
because you weren't present.
And not just present, we don't communicate with them and
Communicate.
involve them
Yes.
in the decisions.
Yes.
So someone was asking me one time about it seems like you just have it all in balance. It's not that it's necessarily in balance, but I communicate and I'm intentional, right? I'm intentional that this is my work time. I'm
Yes.
intentional that this is my me time.
Yes.
I'm intentional that this is my wife time.
Yes, that's
I'm
it.
intentional that this is mommy time.
Yes.
I don't play around with it. You
Right,
know?
right.
And I have it mapped out, you know, all those kinds of things. And in the time where it's not mommy time, they know all about my businesses. They know what I do. They
Girlfriend
know, you
time,
know,
couple
they be like, it's
times.
Wednesday. I know that you're on a Zoom they be like, is this Chicago chapter Recession Brew? You know, I be like, get out of here, you know. But even when I was going on tour and I knew I would be gone every week from Monday to Wednesday and sometimes Monday to Thursday, depending on how many was in that week, it was a family sit down conversation. All right, so this is the game plan. All right, and so this is what we're going to do. This is when mommy's going to be gone. But when I come back, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
So it's like everybody is,
Yes.
you know,
In
whereas
sync.
as you know, in my generation of children growing up, it just was what you didn't have no communication.
Exactly.
Nobody was home, or you waiting, or somebody's
Yes.
auntie had to come pick you
Yes.
up, or you know, or whatever the case may be. You know,
You make the arrangement
Yeah.
and the decisions without including
Yeah.
them.
Exactly.
And they feel
Yes.
and then they
thrown
take
around.
that into their adulthood.
That's so
Yes.
true.
We take so much.
Yes.
We take so much, and shout out to our generation of parents because they were doing the best that they
That
could
they knew.
with
Yeah.
what
They
Mariah
did.
Carey said. I'm doing the best I
I
can
can,
with
what I got. That's what they did.
you know, and it's what they you know got, you know. But I think our generation, especially the new generation, they're like, no, you know, but you don't want to you know, go too far away from boundaries.
That's true.
But you do need to understand that children, when we're talking about relationships, and we were talking about this on the live the other day,
Yeah.
that relationships are not just our intimate, our significant
Right.
others. There are how we show up as parents.
Yes. Yes.
I read a book that spoke to how they made a contrast of how a poor parent spoke to their children and how a wealthy parent spoke to their children.
Okay.
Like a wealthy person can be in a meeting. We can all be discussing a development project. Junior would be right there. And in the book, they describe, well, Michael, how do you feel about this deal? Like they were included.
Yeah.
So that's when we see people who grow up privileged and entitled. They feel like they deserve to be in that spot where
Yeah.
poor people raise their children to
Right.
shrink.
Yeah.
So if you're
Well, I'll say poor
empowered-
mindset, not necessarily poor financially.
Yeah, just like
Yes.
to shrink,
Yeah.
like don't say anything. Like certain things you were saying, how we were
Yeah.
raised,
Yeah.
stay out of grown folks'
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
You have no opinion.
Yes.
Matter of fact, this is between me and your dad.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be out of town for 2 weeks. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, wow.
Okay. Like, well, okay.
What's
What's we
been
supposed
in
to do?
on that?
In the meantime, I got this game. I got this. Or
Right.
can I go? Or maybe you got to
Right.
sit out of the game. And shout out to my auntie, Aunt Diane. My auntie is watching, and Soror, and my mommy Soror, because I want to talk about aunties when some of my aunts, especially my Aunt Myrna, you know, are around my kids a lot. You know, she vacations with us and things like that. And the way that I don't whoop my children. That's number one. Now, when they were younger, they might get a pop,
Yeah.
you know. But whoop, like I don't even have the energy to be like, let's get this business. Like I don't even operate like that in life, just in general. Like you about to catch this word, you know.
On the red eye, you be ready.
Right.
I don't even have that energy. I don't even know how they had that energy, but.
Right.
But I do follow through with discipline in terms of boundaries, taking things away, privileges, and all those kinds of things, or the things that they like, and all of that. I actually follow through, right?
Yes.
But one of the things that I had to have a conversation with my aunt about was I allow them to negotiate with me. Because before I had this conversation with my aunts, they would hear, let's say, go upstairs, clean your room, and then come back down, blah, blah, blah. And they might say, well, I would like to blah, blah, blah. And then can I clean my room? To them, it's like, gas. Like, they didn't just go do what the hell you said to
Right.
do the first time you said it, you know? So after a while, I feel like they would give my kids looks like, you disrespectful. So
Right.
I realized I needed to have a conversation with my aunts. Like, this is how I operate.
Yes.
I do not want to be the one to teach my children how to accept no.
Right.
And then I send them into the world and tell them, don't accept no.
Right.
Now, and I done taught them all this time.
Yes.
I said no.
Yes.
And you don't say nothing
Right.
about it, no matter what your feelings are, what your perspective is, right?
Right.
But then you get in the real world, I'm like, they told you no and you accepted that?
Right.
I taught
right.
you
But
that.
you taught
They
them
never
that.
put it into practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was the
I
same
taught
thing
you
that
Yes.
book
It's
was
me.
saying.
Yes.
I taught you that.
Yes.
And so I told her, I said, I allow them one time to negotiate. And they have really increased their negotiating skills over the
Yes.
years. And I'm talking about, this is young, like 3 or 4 years old, you know?
Right.
So now, like, they come with it. Like, I hear them in the background sometimes conversing, like, all right, so this is what I'm going to say. And then you say this. And then when I say this, and I
Yes.
love it.
Yeah.
know? Like, and I also give them an opportunity. I give them both balance. I give them, I love that. If you had said this, blah, 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 the answer would have been yes, but the answer is still no.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But then I also give them a flip side where they win.
Yes.
They
yes.
win. I probably still wanted to say no,
Yes.
but I want to give them a chance to see, like, that
Yes.
works.
And
You know what I mean?
And even as they grow, you still have to do that. Because I had a conversation with my daughter. She's 18. She has a job now, and she has chores. So I think in her mindset, she felt, oh, I work now. I don't need to do my chores, or I get them done when I want to. And so she got up and she was doing her thing. And I said, so you go to work today? She said, oh yeah. No, she said, I picked up a shift. I was like, okay, great. So when are you going to do your chores? So she was like, oh, well, I wasn't going to do them because I'm going to work. I said, oh no, your chores still have to happen. As a woman, even as a male, we still got to keep doing other responsibilities.
Exactly.
And so she was like, well, I'm going to be tired when I get off of work. So I was like, okay, well, what time do you get off of work? So she went at 2. She said she go in at 2. She gets off at 6. Well, this is 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, so you got time to either do it now or do it when you get off.
Right.
Or you going to be that time? I said, so then I had to really I had to change her thinking in that moment. Okay. I said, so think about it. If you did your chores, right? Maybe you do them now.
Yeah.
You go to work. Then your girlfriend call you and say, hey, why don't you come hang over at my house? Da, 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 da. Now you off for work. Now would you say yes or no? So she looking like, oh, I'm going to say yes. I said, you'll say yes, right?
Right.
I said, but you're telling me you're going to be too tired when you get off. But think about it. If you do your work, do your assignment, go to work, then get off of work, you can go with your girlfriend. So she said, oh, yeah. So I go upstairs, 20-minute mother said, is she going to work? I said, yes. And was she down there mopping the floor and cleaning? And I said, oh, so she thought about it. I said, watch, when she get off of work, she going to call me and say, can I go to my girlfriend's house? And sure enough, like I know my kids, you know your kids. Hey, Mom, I did my work. Can I go to my girlfriend's house? I said, see how that worked out?
Yeah.
When you think about communicating and how you get things done, yes, you can go to your girlfriend's house because you did your assignment. That's how it is.
Yes.
Just do that. But it's like we as parents, it's like we're always teaching and we're always helping them and coaching
it's
them.
exhausting, man.
I
say intentional parenting is exhausting.
You're
because I could
always
whoop you all
coaching.
day long, say sit your ass down, and then carry on about my business.
Right,
You know,
but-
to me that's just like you surviving. You know that.
Yes,
part.
exactly.
Like, intentional parenting is where you're actually considering your child
Yes.
as a human being.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And if you have multiple children, the fact that they are different, even though they're born and from
Like
you,
I got twins,
and they live in the same
Yeah.
house, they're raised the same way, but they're different.
They're different.
And so if you got multiple children, you intentionally parenting with one. Now you're intentional parenting with two. I'd say it's
Yes.
exhausting, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
It is.
You know, that's why
Yeah.
that's why I
Yes.
got to take a break.
Yes,
So-
we have to.
I hear, right? So this is a good question I have for you guys. Like I hear, so when you have multiple children, they have multiple personalities, multiple issues. Do you guys hang out with your children individually?
What? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just
I
to
do.
give them that one-on-one.
Yes,
I
we
do.
do the girl,
I-
and then
I do. I
Yes.
only have two. She has about 57
Yeah.
children.
Not 57
So
children.
I don't know how she balances it, but I just got my two. But with my two, Sin, she's my little sidekick. If she could come with me right now, if she could come with me everywhere, she would. Isaiah, he loves to be with me, but he doesn't have to be up under me. But he likes to know that I'm present. But Isaiah, he's very observant. He takes in life in a very serious manner. So I realized at a very young age that I had to have in-depth conversations with him, because the way that he brought in the world was against him, right?
Wow, yes.
So I had to teach him how to process what was happening, and and of course it's his own actions, right? But instead of saying you, it was, all right, let's break this down. All right, let's take this step by step, and letting him come to it on his own. And when I tell you, sometimes I would be over the conversation,
Oh,
but
wow.
but I would still stay present until I saw that light bulb go off. So now he's 12. He's there now. Like, he's going to continue to grow, and he's going to continue to need those little checks and balances. But for the most part, if I just was sit your ass down, my baby would probably be a mess.
Yes,
He'd be in, because the way his personality is set up, he's like looking at, whereas my daughter, she's like living life, like she's like, my mom said it's cool, and I trust her, so we good. I could be like, with Isaiah, it's good. He'll be like, well, I'll find out. Let me just look at this for a second, and I'll determine whether I think it's safe or not.
Got you.
And Sin, she's observant as well, but not like him. She's so confident in that she's gonna be all right. Period.
Yes.
And my son, who's more of the introvert, he's like very cautious, and all those kinds of things. If I just left him to himself, oh my gosh, like, I would probably have a lot on my hands at this point. And he might even be depressed at this point, because he wouldn't have anyone to talk to about how he's perceiving life.
Yes.
And to be able to know, and I just thank God that he has blessed me to have that understanding that I need to be that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like, be in my conscious thought rather than operating on autopilot or history or tradition, and things like that. And that's what I try to get people to understand when it comes to whatever their relationship is, whether it's their significant other, whether they're single and trying to have a significant other, in their current relationships, parenting, friendships, all of that. I try to get them, be in your conscious thoughts, so that you're aware of what you're doing, and you're not operating on autopilot, because a lot of times our autopilot is filled with triggers. It's filled with survival tactics and things like that from things that before that person was even around.
Yes. Yes.
So
Wow.
I got to come back on when it comes to relationships and business, how essential what we're doing for, I mean, we're going to start in the community, but we already know we're taking this globally.
Yes, it's gone. Yes.
And this is it's not just for women, even though we're all women.
Right.
I wanted to work with women intentionally, but I wanted to work with women who are supporters of men as well.
Yes.
Not like women empowerment. We don't want the men.
Right. No, we want the men.
We want to empower the whole unit.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Whether it's marriage that they want, or they want a lifelong partner, or they just want to be better parents, they want to be better children. We have sibling rivalries going on, and those are passed down, to their children. It's just a whole lot that we have work to do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
So
So I'm just so excited about the first workshop. Like,
oh my gosh. So let's break that down. So our the name of our business is R&B Retreats. The R&B stands for relationships and business. But we chose R&B. We got to have a little R&B in our relationships. A lot of babies are made off R&B. So February 25th, you can text to get on that waiting list, 770-249-5992. I'll drop that in the chat in just a second. You can text the word retreat or grow. Retreat, 770-249-5992. February 25th. And you're going to be bringing your laptops. It's not going to be your regular workshop where you're taking notes and got to go
Right.
home and do stuff.
Right.
We
Exactly.
working.
We're working
On site, but tell them,
Yes.
okay, on my side, we're, even though I'm in business and have been in business since 2005, I'm going to leave those aspects up to the other three ladies. Again, shout out to Linda Chapman, Miss Contracts and Grants. I'm coming in with the whole healing part, the whole mental health,
Yes.
the whole coaching part of our relationship, starting with ourselves. All right. And beginning February 25th, we're going to do on my side, the blueprint for your life, because our goals are different. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire.
Yes.
Not everybody wants to be married.
Right.
Not everyone wants children.
Right.
So what is the blueprint for your particular life so that we can map out what that looks like? We did vision board. A lot of people did vision board, but there's no steps to go with it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so that's where I'm going to come in to heal whatever, blockers you may have, whatever triggers you may have, so that your relationships can be stronger, so that you can show up better. You can show up better, because if we show up better, the people will respond to us better.
Yes. Yes.
We're not being reactive.
Right.
We're being proactive.
Proactive, yes.
And teaching people without telling them how to show up in our lives.
Yes.
And also respecting other people's lives as well.
Yes.
And how we show up in them. And then I'll get to Linda. I'll let you
Yes.
say how you're going to show up in the lab on February 25th.
Listen, I am so excited. I'm Crystal Durham, so I am the go-to for all things nonprofit. And so we're going to start with is the vision. What is your vision for your nonprofit? What is the vision for you? What do you want to do in the community? How do you want to impact the community, right? A lot of times we just surround ourselves with me, I, and our four and no more, right? But God has called us to greatness. He has called us to touch other individuals who may need to hear your story, but we're confused, right? We want to help the homeless. We want to help the men, the age out men, the foster men. We want, because guess what? Our hearts are so big, right? So when your heart is so big, your vision is kind of cloudy. You're not sure. You have no direction. You don't know how to get there. You don't know how to get to the roadmap. And so what we're going to do is we're going to map out your vision. We're going to find your niche. What is God really calling you to? So when I started my nonprofit organization, there's a lot of people helping age out foster youth, right? But what was my niche, right? So what I found out my niche was that I was going to share the true love of God with individuals for the first 90 days. Because when you've gone through abuse, sexual abuse, molested, raped, kidnapped, a verbal, physically, mentally abused, you can't trust or want to love nobody, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to truly share the love of God with you for those 90 days. That's my niche. And so when you come to that workshop, we're going to dig real deep into, once you get healed from Syndy B, you're going to come to me and we're going to get into your vision so that you can go out and make the impact that God has called you to make.
But not just that. So, right. So, of course, when it comes to nonprofits, we know that that's going to be our passion,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But the reason why, when it comes to contracts and grants, when it comes to nonprofits
Yes.
and business funding, when it comes to strengthening the finances in our business, and that's whether it's broken, like
Right.
broke,
Right.
or whether it's real thriving and strong, and you need to, balance it out in terms of how you navigate. So we'll have both of those, aspects. But the key is a lot of people want to strengthen their finances, but they
Yes.
don't have the finances to strengthen it.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So these three components between nonprofit, because you can start with other people's money.
Yes.
Very, very minimal.
Yes, you can.
Like if you were on the very lower end, what would be an amount that they would have to start with? We're not talking about work that you got to put in. You got to put in work to bring in the money, right?
Right.
But like, what would they have to start?
5,000.
And what would that go towards?
That would go towards their registration, their 501c3 process with the IRS, and that would go to their coaching degree.
Okay, they're what?
Their coaching.
What's that? Oh, for you.
Yes.
But that's for you.
Oh, that's for
I'm just
me.
talking about in
So
general.
in general,
Yes.
it would do their registration, their EIN, and their 501c3.
Exactly. And that's like what, a few $100s, maybe like maybe $300-$400 if you do the work on your own, right? So the key is when we teach you things, you can work with us, but you can also do it on your own.
Yes.
Right. We're going to equip you.
Yes.
You know, now when you come to our lab, we're doing the work.
We're doing the work.
You know,
exactly.
But the great thing is, all of us share of how they go through all your videos.
Yes.
You go live all the time. Both of you do, but you definitely go live,
Yes.
live all the time. You have a lot of free webinars, a lot of free workshops. Same with you.
Yeah.
Same with Linda. That they're able to, like, if I just can't afford to work with you one-on-one,
Right.
but I'll get started
Yes.
and then I'll circle back around to scale and
Exactly.
grow.
That's
you know what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
And so that was the key, and same thing with contracts and grants. We're using the government's money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Business and business funding.
Yes.
We're using other people's money because I didn't want to say, yes, get in real estate, or yes, get in Airbnb, or yes, get into car rentals. Yes, get in whatever else that costs $50,000 to start up and my credit is bad.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, I might have the know-how, but I ain't got the how.
I ain't got
you
the
know?
how. Right.
Exactly.
So that was the key with that. So Akila, tell them what your lab is going to look like on February 25th.
I am so excited for this, only because we have the relationship part attached, right?
Yes.
What I've come to know is a lot of my people, they are afraid to go to the bank. They are afraid to use other people's money. They are afraid when I tell them the amount that is possible for them, because it now presents a new problem. Well, what am I going to do with all of that money? I've never seen that much at once. So my workshop, the very first one, is to face our finances. We're going to pull it up. We're going to dig deep into it. We're going to talk about everything. So you have to come open. And thank God, I've never really met anyone that was sort of reserved.
Okay.
Because it's very scary. I've gotten good at making you feel comfortable. Hey, let's just blurt this out. Let's face it. And he'd be like, yeah, I know I'm doing bad. Be like, you're not doing so bad.
Right.
I was doing worse. I had a bankruptcy.
Right.
I lost it all, which means I had to clear my entire credit report and rebuild it from scratch.
Yes.
Then go get business funding. So you're winning if you have credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we have files to work with. And so my workshop is to get you to even pull up your credit report to face it. Everyone has their own individual funding plan. It's not the same
Their
for
own
everyone.
blueprint.
Yes.
And so speaking of that, I saw our girl Shay. She was like, I gave steps, for
Yes.
so definitely the steps, generally speaking,
Yes.
I definitely know that was the best vision party I've ever been to.
Yes,
right?
it was.
But when I
Yes.
say blueprint and steps, I mean for Crystal.
Yes.
I mean for Akila. I
Yes.
mean for Syndy B. I mean
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if so, let's say that we both want to reach millionaire status, but you want to meet millionaire status in your lane. I want to meet millionaire status doing what I do.
Right.
So our steps are going to look
Steps are
different.
different.
100%.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
Your
what I
steps
mean.
are different for
Yes.
business funding.
Exactly.
Yes.
I have a
Exactly.
bankruptcy. You
Yes.
have high credit card utilization.
Yes.
You have a thin
Yes.
profile. You're over leveraged.
Yes.
Yes.
It's different
It's
things.
different. And so
different.
one of the things, I have been going to workshops and personal
Yes.
development for a very long time. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to our organization is that they do the work on site.
Yes.
They do the work on site, because a lot of times you can go to some phenomenal workshops,
Yes.
but you have so much homework when you go home, and then you go home to 5 kids, 2
And
kids,
do
1
nothing.
kid, a husband, a single parent, or gotta cook, gotta clean. I'm like, then it's like, okay, I'll get to it tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get to it
See
next
where
week.
you
Yes.
fit into that generic blueprint.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because they just taught
exactly.
on the stage and gave you a packet.
Right.
Yes.
But
Right.
most of this doesn't apply,
Doesn't apply
to me.
to me.
Yes.
Right?
Where do I
Yes.
start?
Exactly. And so I wanted to bring something different. I wanted them, when they go home, if they want to do more work, cool.
Yes.
But you did the key work to take
The
you
key
to
work.
and it's work.
Yes.
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 You
it
know, like
is.
we're there for almost an 8-hour day.
Yes.
And we don't want you guys to go home and do work.
Right.
We got enough work at
Yes.
home.
Home, yes,
okay,
we
we
do.
got enough relationship work to
Yes.
do. Look, when you
Yes.
go home, you're not doing the business part of R&B
Right.
retreat. You're doing the
Yes.
relationship part.
Right, the
okay.
relationship part.
This is so amazing
This
and
is going to
unique.
be.
I don't know if you guys realize the opportunity
Yes.
that's here.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
just being in the workshop with me, I'm going to empower you. You're going to walk away
Yes.
with a plan.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad your
Yes.
situation is.
Yes.
I have a way for you to get out.
Yes.
And not just that.
Yes.
We have walked
Oh
down
my
those
gosh.
We have
roads.
walked
We've
down
been
those
we've been
roads.
sh-
Yes.
financial struggles. We've had it.
Yes.
And lost it all.
Yes, that's
you know,
it.
I myself had a bankruptcy. You know, it's like
Yeah.
we in our relationships. Boy,
Yes. We've been,
have
yeah.
we?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know.
Y'all heard.
know?
We've been.
And if you all don't know Linda's story, and she said it, many times, she's widowed, and now
Yes.
what's the age gap?
21
21 years age gap.
And they look so beautiful
Oh,
together.
I mean, they're the best. We
Amazing.
love them.
So good.
So we're excited to see you guys on February 25th.
Yes.
I'm excited. They're going to be coming back. I think we missed February because it got booked up quick, but they'll be back in March.
Yes.
And every month, going forward, just so that we can continue this kitchen table talk. And then, of course, we would have some labs, by then. So we'll definitely let
Yes.
you know what's happening and what's going on.
You better be there.
Honey.
Yes.
Okay, so again, you guys can text 770-249-5992. Text the word retreat to get on the waiting list, because when that sign up is released, we gone. Okay.
We gone.
and I'm so excited. R&B retreats is and we end after it's a 4-part series, and we end in Colombia, South
Yes.
America. And I cannot wait to
Amazing.
share the video of what that looks like in
Yes.
Colombia. That's going to be very empowering and releasing. We're going to be releasing a lot of things that we needed to release in Colombia. So I'm
Yes.
very excited. All right, thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Yes,
This is
and shout out
amazing.
again to our girl Linda. We'll see you back. Say hey to Steph for us.
Yes.
All right, you guys, we'll take a break. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
The Unbroken Experience with Syndy B on Power 108.9. See you later.
Yes.